few VIP spots here if anyone's VIP or feels VIP. All right, looks like we have almost everyone seated. It's funny because it's such a big space that this is a big crowd, but it doesn't look like a big crowd, which is kind of comfortable for us up here. If you feel like on the sides you're too far away, you know, there's spots like closer. Everyone get cozy. We have one more order of business, and then we're going to get going. But I feel like we should just start. Who's ready? You're all so well behaved. No one's talking. It's in church. Oh my gosh. I'm not used to being in a church. Thank you for being here. All right, we're just going to do one thing. Maybe not. Maybe we're not going to worry about it. I'm just going to start because I feel like it. Yeah. Woo! All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Montclair Story Salon. Thank you for being here tonight for Lifted, a story salon to support Montclair Helps. They are a new nonprofit in town. They're helping with emergency cases. These guys are doing great things. They provide fast relief, and you are here to help them do that, so thank you. How many of you here, show of hands, have been to a Montclair Story Salon before? Nice. And raise your hands if you've never been to one, never heard of one until tonight. Oh my God, yay, welcome! That is amazing. Well, I'm so happy to have the people who have been before and my newcomers. Welcome. You don't know what you're in for, but you will have a good time, I promise. Okay, so if you don't know, the people who are new, Montclair Story Salon is a multidisciplinary storytelling event series where we raise funds for different nonprofits in the Montclair area. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Liz Samuel. I'm the founder and host and producer of Montclair Story Salon. And when I'm not doing this, I'm acting, teaching, or parenting. I've raised both my kids here in Montclair, and I love this town, I'm sure, as much as you do. So the theme here tonight is Lifted. And that can mean a lot of different things to different people, and you'll learn as you listen to the stories and songs tonight that, you know, it could be lifted or lift off or just any kind of thing that has the word lift in it. First, I just want to, before we get started with all our performers, I want to bring up one of the incredible people who make this organization, Montclair Helps, possible. Please welcome Ray Gray.
Thank you, Liz. So Liz told me to keep this short, like less than 6 minutes, and I timed it, and it was 7.5. So you have to just bear with me. There's two things that I want to do. I want to be able to tell you a little bit about Montclair Helps, and then also express some gratitude, because this kind of thing doesn't happen just by mistake. It happens because there's a lot of good people, good energy that come together, and all of you are part of that. You're all Montclair helpers, as we like to say. So, here we go. Go next. No. Good evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Ray Gray. If you don't know about Montclair Helps, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, what we do, how we do it, and here we go. So first off, Montclair Helps has been around for just over 2 years, and we've provided nearly $100,000 in grants to those. Yeah, it's a big thing. Thank you. 100,000 in grants to those in our immediate area facing emergencies. To date, we've helped over 80 individuals and families get over and through some pretty tough stuff. Our grants touch a very broad segment of the population, including families, very young children, students, elderly, immigrants, and single moms, amongst others. And the way we do this, the way we're organized, is by partnering with existing, long-established nonprofits in the area. And it's those nonprofits that really are ultimately the eyes and the ears for us to the vulnerable and oftentimes marginalized in the community. Then things can fall through the cracks. People who might be living paycheck to paycheck and have an unexpected crisis hit, and then their whole world can get thrown into a real tailspin. So that's where we come in. So when a crisis like that hits someone, one of our local nonprofit partners, and you can see a lot of little logos there and logos on the brochures in your aisles. When a person faces a crisis and they don't know where to go, they might be going to Human Needs Food Pantry, they might be going to Tony's Kitchen, they might be part of the Family Promise Network, they might be associated with Out Montclair. And when one of these nonprofit organizations gets exposed to a person in crisis, they contact us, and our commitment is to respond within 12 to 48 hours with a one-time grant of $200 to $2,000. And we've, like I said, we've done that supporting over 80 families. So let's see, I went off script. But that's to everybody's benefit. So it could be an emergency car repair that needs to be handled so work is not missed. Oftentimes these are the paycheck to paycheck folks, and one little thing can really mess things up. A displaced family due to a natural disaster or a domestic abuse issue that might require housing or transportation solutions. And even a homeless person at Tony's Kitchen had an opportunity for work and they needed some boots, and so we stepped in with that. So when a door in someone's life is slammed shut or closed off, Montclair Helps is there to open it or just help keep it open. So that's a little bit about Montclair Helps, and I'm happy to chat with you about that and talk to you more about what we're doing, how we're doing it, where we're going. And on that note, our aspirations include Montclair Helps chapters, not Montclair, Helps chapters across the country. So if you have a friend group, a social circle, that might pick something like this up, let's have a talk about it. We're looking to organize pilot chapters. And these are social circles, they're poker groups, they're knitting circles, they're book clubs. If you have a college group that is still tight and you might want to organize something like this, we're there to help you figure out how to do that as we expand. So now the second part of this, and I think I'm at 2-3 minutes left. So some people to thank. First, I want to thank the partners and trustees and the founders of Montclair Helps. Selfless guys who really understand what it means to be of service and how one is served by serving. And that's not an everyday kind of experience, and I'm the fortunate beneficiary of being associated with these men, these menches. So thank you. There's also our partners who I've talked about, all these nonprofit partners. And the nonprofit world is not something I was personally that familiar with, whether it's the food pantries or the housing associations that help with that. And once you get into it, you realize these are full-hearted people who are really giving of themselves and really showing up. And talk about showing up, many of you are familiar with Montclair's Story Salon and Liz Samuel. She is a treasure and someone who is actively spreading love and joy. It's very, very special. And she's building community, and she's creating magical alchemy with everything that she's doing. So thank you, Liz. Of course, you've no doubt noticed that this event is supported by some local and not so local businesses. My friend Dr. Pete DeNoble and his modern orthopedics. He's supported Montclair Helps now through several events, and really just a great guy. We have Samantha Jarman, who's Fault Fitness, also an amazing person, and our very own Montclair Marcel's, who has stepped up on many occasions. They're genuine people who care, who show up and exist, not just to sell a product or a service, but to bring love and goodness into our community. So support them. And of course, the Union Congregation folks, Kim Crabtree, Albert, The donation of the space has been fantastic. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge all of you. I already did that, but I'm doing it again. There's a lot of ways to spend one's time and money on a midweek evening, and yes, the Knicks are playing tonight. Yes, there's plenty of Netflix one could be watching. 4 seasons, Bruce. There are graduations, end-of-year school concerts, other events that all compete for your time and attention. Some here tonight even came in from the city or traveled a bit to get here, so thank you for that. But you all made it, and because of that, you are all directly making a difference in the lives of real people, neighbors, families, and for that, each and every one of you has our deep and heartfelt gratitude. And then, just to wrap it up, a quote from John Kabat-Zinn that I think fits the universal spirit of this evening, and it goes as follows. At the deepest level, there is no giver, no gift, and no recipient. Only the universe rearranging itself. So with that, get ready to be lifted with an incredibly talented and soulful group of performers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray. I'm so excited for tonight, and we're so glad that we could be here for Montclair Helps. When you walked in, some of you may have given me a card. I'm just waiting for some of those index cards because I like to read them out throughout the evening. Oh, thank you. Amazing intern. Leah, thank you. Oh, here's one. I'll just read it now. Okay. So I felt so lifted when I interviewed Rachel Brooks. Oh, this is one of our storytellers tonight, so I know who wrote that one. Yes, these are cards about how you felt. I hope you sit here tonight and you think, what makes me feel lifted? Even if you didn't fill out the index card, what makes you feel lifted? Okay, I want to turn your attention to our artist here tonight. He will be Fernando Mariscal. Fernando will be creating a work of art before your eyes, and we're going to be auctioning off his incredible piece at the end of the evening, and it will be to support Montclair Helps. So you won't just get this incredible piece, but you'll also be really giving to the community, people who need it. Fernando Mariscal is a Peruvian-born artist whose vibrant work blends realism with abstract expression inspired by nature, history, and the human spirit. His work in oil and pastel has been featured in libraries, museums, and public spaces from Peru to New Jersey. His award-winning art has brought him 40 years of solo exhibitions, murals, and public commissions. He will be painting tonight, and his work will be up for auction, as I mentioned. And you may have seen his other work in this other room for the silent auction before you came in. You will have a chance afterwards to go back, and after you've watched this, you might feel inspired to just get some more bids in there, because you might be taking home some of his pieces in there, and a lot of them are familiar scenes. They're beautiful. Fernando, would you like to come up and say a few words? Great, come on up.
Are you ready to have fun?
Yeah!
Fabulous. It is truly an honor to stand before you tonight. And I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Montclair Story Salon for this incredible opportunity. A special thank to Liz, whose kindness and heart are needed in this world now more than ever. Tonight, I have the privilege of painting this wonderful space, and I hope to inspire you, even if just a little. So let's have fun.
Fernando, yeah, and you can watch him if you can't see his painting here. You can see it right there. Oh, and I'm there too. Hi. Okay, all right. That means all the storytellers are going to be on camera. All right, so here we go. Our first storyteller, who's not just telling a story, really. He's gonna tickle the ivories. Is that how you say that? Tickle the ivories, right? I'm excited to have this guy with us tonight. He's a stand-up comedian and writer, and you may recognize him if you watched Conan, Comedy Central, or VH1 in the aughts. His writing has been featured in The New Yorker and New York Times Modern Love section. He currently teaches stand-up at Montclair Film. Please welcome Craig Baldo!
everybody doing? Everybody feeling good? Let's get some music up in this bitch. I always wanted to say that in church. I said, I bet I'm the first one. Let's get some music up in this bitch. I said it. That's it. I'm done. Okay. So, thanks, Liz, for having me. I'm really excited. I live here in Montclair, and I didn't, Liz asked me to do the show, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, I got this song that I was thinking about, I'm working on. And she's like, great, come do it on the 21st. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I got the flyer, and it told me the theme that was lifted, and I was like, uh-oh. Because the song is about deep regret. Who's got regret in the audience? Come on, repent. But I think there's going to be some people in this congregation that relate to my song. And I try to twist it. I try to kind of retrofit the theme, the lift theme into it. So I worked on wrenching that in there. I think I'm still a work in progress. Basically, this song is a work in progress. So if I mess up, just remember it's not me, it's God. He did it, or she. So anyway, so this is a song, people here in Montclair, there's a lot of people that kind of, I think, suffer from this type of regret. We're all, have a lot in common. A lot of us are married. Yeah, right. A lot of us, have careers and all that. But amongst other things, we have a lot in common. So this is a song that I think is going to speak to you guys in Montclair. It's called "Does Anybody Want to Buy My Fucking Tesla?" Again, I'm so sorry. You're the man. Here we go. Again, it's a work in progress, you guys. Who can already relate to it? Anyone? Come on! How's that sound? Boy, do I feel dumb. I tried kicking petroleum to the curb. Shit, what did I do? I see my neighbor, she drives one too. And here's the kicker. Now we're both gonna need a bumper sticker that says, I'm not a Nazi, no, I ain't no yutz. I purchased the stupid thing before that South African went nuts. You better believe it's gonna be hard to sell, but I'm sure gonna try. Is anyone here in the market for a 2023 Model Y? Full disclosure, it's a Model 3, but that didn't rhyme in the song. So I made it a Model Y, which, if you ask me, sounds like a very regrettable car, right? The Model Y, oh why? Why, oh why? Does anyone wanna buy my Tesla? Does anyone wanna buy my Tesla? I used to feel so cool, dropping my kids at school. But now they're like, Dad, can we just take the Subaru? I said, what kind of kid begs his parents to drive them to school in a Subaru? I'll tell you who. My kids. And listen, it's a first world problem, I'm the first to admit. But living here in a Montclair bubble, my pain feels legit. But look at the bright side, I'm getting more exercise, I'm taking much longer walks. I still wanna scrap that thing like I did with my Bill Cosby lunchbox. Hey, hey, hey. I had a Fat Albert lunchbox. I threw it away though. Not to like equate, you know, Elon Musk, you know, he didn't roofie anybody like Bill Cosby. Although I think we all collectively felt roofied by Elon, didn't we? Like we woke up one morning and we're like, shit, what happened to Twitter? What happened to government regulation? What's in my garage? Does anyone wanna buy my Tesla? Criminal to be a liberal and not be miserable when you drive a Tesla. It was a classic bait and switch. Now I'm forever Elon's bitch. When will this chapter ever close? Or should I just go out and join Doge? Can you just don't join Doge? I think it's probably pretty easy, right? It's like a few high school credits and a Tesla and you're in, right? There's some things you can't really join, you know? My mom's friend when I was 19, she was like, Craig, you're so funny, you should join SNL. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll just go down to 30 Rock and fucking fill out a form and, hey, Lorne, I'm the newest cast member on Saturday Night Live. You can't do that. You can't do that with Doge either. I guess it could be worse. I could be riding in a hearse. But being dead wouldn't be so... Well, actually, that would really suck. But not as much as this Cybertruck. Cybertruck's the only vehicle on the road now that makes me feel not like a douche. So I want to everybody give it up for Montclair. It helps. Yeah. Ray Gray up here in the front, recording me. He's salt of the earth. Although I did catch him slashing my tires before the show. I don't know why you're laughing. I was like, Ray, what are you doing? He's like, I'm slashing this car's tires. And I said, why? He said, it's a Tesla. And I said, good point. Good point. I got drunk one night and I keyed my own car. At Tierney's. I was like, I'm gonna show this asshole. Then I did, and I was like, God damn it. It's okay, I didn't drive home, though. Don't worry, I did not drive home that night. I got a lift. Does anyone wanna buy my Tesla? Does anyone, I'm talking anyone who doesn't already have one, wanna buy my Tesla? Boy, do I feel dumb. I tried kicking petroleum to the curb. Thank you.
Yes, it is. It is working. Is this working? Yes. so much, Craig. I'm going to be laughing every time I see a Tesla now instead of wanting to slash their tires. So thank you for that. That was a gift. All right, cool. So we are going to move now to our next storyteller. We have Eileen Kelly. She's a writer, comedian, and host of the podcast Strangers with Kittens. Eileen teaches stand-up comedy and storytelling to children and adults. She's a Montclair mom of 3. Please welcome the wonderful Eileen Kelly.
Hi, you guys. Okay, glasses. You know when you're out somewhere and you know when it's time to leave? This past June, I was in the restaurant of life and I was like, I'll take the check. I have an emotionally disabled son. Much of his 13 years have been pretty challenging, but it had become unbearable. Smashed houseplants, holes in walls, broken windows. One minute he was the smart, sweet, funny boy I'd raised. The next, kitchen chairs were flying around because his takeout burger had a tomato on it. He was claiming he was in a gang. We live in Montclair. Where'd the Crips find you, drinking your caramel ribbon crunch frappuccino in front of Williams-Sonoma? But he was looking for trouble, and it was starting to find him. On this particular day in June, we were leaving an appointment with the pediatric psych department at Newark Beth Israel Hospital, a follow-up from his most recent week-long stay. I had a broken ankle and was on crutches. As I crutched up the hill to my car, my son was reenacting what seemed to be the more brutal director's cut of An Officer and a Gentleman, where I was Richard Gere and he was Lou Gossett Jr. screaming at me about how worthless and awful I was. Moments later, when I stopped at a traffic light, he jumped out of my car and disappeared onto the streets of downtown Newark. When I finally found him and got him home, he declared for the umpteenth time that I wasn't his mother and that he hoped I'd die, and then he took off on his bike. My swollen ankle was throbbing, my underarms were burning, and my heart was broken. I poured myself a scotch on the rocks. Macallan, 12-year. I was desperate, but still classy. I thought back on the last few years, the judgmental phone calls from principals, the hollow questions from health professionals, the side eyes from other parents. Then I looked down the long, dark hallway of a future with no support, no understanding, and no cure. I remembered the Xanax my GP had prescribed a few months before to help me cope with the stress. I'd only taken half a tablet on 2 separate occasions. How many would I need to combine with more scotch to just drift away? I cracked open my laptop. How many Xanax? Support is available. 1-800-DON'T-KILL-YOURSELF. We're here to help. If you want to help, tell me how many Xanax I need. But no, just page after page of hotlines and platitudes until finally, not really much of a pill person. Turns out that 4 Xanax is really only enough to fell a bunny. I thought about what my mother said when she would hear that somebody had committed suicide. They're nothing but selfish. Selfish. Like they'd eaten all the chunky monkey. Maybe the rest of us wanted some of that. You ever think of that? No, you want to keep all the death for yourself. Selfish. In my Irish Catholic upbringing, it was often said that God doesn't give you more than you can handle. I don't know who could handle this. Clearly, God thought I was God. My son has been through 7 schools. I've read enough books on adoption, trauma, and mental illness to fill a large bookcase. And a second mortgage allowed us to access specialist programs and therapies from New York to Utah, and I still wasn't safe in my own home. It wasn't until I really leaned into all of the services in our community that true help finally appeared. We've been involved on and off with New Jersey's free mental health care for children. It's called Perform Care. It's available to all families in New Jersey, and it provides a social worker who determines what supports are needed and puts them in place. Our Perform Care team came together and advocated for my family. They got my son into residential treatment right here in New Jersey, which he entered this past December. The first time we visited was on Christmas. I pulled into the visitors lot alongside a few minivans, SUVs, and a BMW that looked like a Lamborghini. My mind silently gathering data on the kinds of cars driven by the kinds of families whose children are in state care. This data was being applied to the question that had been playing in a loop in my head for months. What kind of a mother puts her child in residential care? My husband, daughter, and I sat down at a table and waited. I looked around at the other families. There was a mother, a father, and 3 smiling kids waiting with wrapped gifts. There was a mom hugging her teenage son, and there was a dad, the sports car guy, judging by his shoes and haircut, who was leaning across the table to speak quietly with his older teenager. And as I looked around at these families, I was overcome with emotion. I didn't know these people personally, but I knew what they had been through. I knew that this handsome guy driving around in a 6-figure sports car probably had someplace else he could be. This mom who cooked her son's favorite meal and sat happily watching him devour it from the plastic containers that she had carefully packed, had probably, on more than one occasion, needed to lock herself in a room to protect herself from him. I knew this kid coming through the door right now, whose siblings couldn't wait to see him and give him gifts, had probably destroyed their toys, put holes in their bedroom walls, broken windows, called them hateful names, made them late for school, made having sleepovers and playdates impossible, ruined countless family dinners, and sometimes terrified them. And yet here they were. The love in that room wasn't the velvet-dressed, picture-perfect Christmas card kind of love. It was the battle-scarred, bleeding, missing limbs, but I still love you, and I'm here, and I'm going to keep showing up no matter what kind of love. That first visit was short. My son needed time. He had a lot of big feelings that he couldn't handle, and I was in a PTSD fog. But slowly, day by day, we've been putting ourselves back together. I've spent the last 5 months patching holes you can see and holes you can't. My son is finally getting support that's safe, capable, and caring. He says that this is the only place that's ever helped him, and that for the first time, he's actually excited about his future. And that question that looped in my head about what kind of a mother, for Mother's Day, made me this bracelet. It says, "Best mom ever." This state-funded program for boys with emotional disabilities has changed the lives of over 13,000 kids and their families. This is what we can do when we decide as a people that we want our tax dollars to go to lifting up our neighbors who are struggling and need help, because a rising tide really does lift all boats. Thank you.
people, it's, I'm sure there are people here who can relate to that. I think what you're going through is really, really hard. It's very brave to come up here and to share that with us. What I love about doing this, about Montclair Story Salon, is that we have storytellers who really can come up here and share very deep, personal stories. I've had some people come up and really say, like, make sure phones are down. I don't want this getting out there, but I want to share this with the room. And they've told some really deep stories, and this goes down as one of those. So thank you. And it's really, this is humanity, right? Like when we share these types of stories, we are human together. So thank you. Great. We're gonna switch gears a little bit now, and we're gonna bring you some original music. This group offers a unique blend of original rock, funk, country, and more, but what really sets them apart is that they draw inspiration from literary giants such as Shakespeare, E.E. Cummings, Robert Browning, and even their own original poetry. Let's give it up for the Bar Band!
How's everybody doing today? What an amazing night. It's tough to come up here after what we just heard. Sorry. So,
Lift us.
thank you for being so open with your story. As somebody who started his career working in residential care for children and adolescents, to hear that perspective was very moving. So we're going to lift you up.
When she says I am
much. And that's a sonnet by William Shakespeare. We call that song We Flattered Be, and we are flattered to be here with all of you tonight and supporting this amazing cause and being a part of this room of incredibly talented artists and speakers and musicians and comedians, I guess you would call the first one. So we are going to take it down a notch though with this next one. And this song is called Broken Friends. And it's inspired by some of the people that have passed through my life, several of them who I call close and dear friends. And as you know, life takes us all in different directions, and you spread out sometimes from people that were very close to you or played a really important part in your life. And sometimes life even brings you back together with people that you met at one point along that journey, and you find closeness with them. But some of those folks that I've had the privilege of being friends with have had challenges of their own with mental health issues, addiction, recovery issues. And this song was inspired by many of them. And sometimes, you feel them pushing away from you. And it feels like the most natural thing to do is just to let that happen and just let them go. And this song is also about hope and not letting go, and how important it is to stay connected to those people, how much they need that, but how much that also does for you. And seeing the light in those people, I think, is just one of the most important things we can do. So this song is called Broken Friends. music goes down. Well, the clouds, they change colors from pink to gray. But there's no sound. I guess I'll come home again to you. I can't be alone again without you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sing it with us now, if you haven't felt this way. Whoa, 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 whoa. You give it one last chance. Whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you. Beautiful. I didn't know. I didn't listen to all your music, so I didn't know what your. This is great. Thank you. Beautiful.
Glad it worked out.
But they're amazing, and they also cool fun fact. You may already know this, but the bar band it's the song you'll hear if you listen to the Montclair pod. That is their music. That is the opening song. What do you call that? Yeah, the theme song. Yes, the theme song. That's what we were going for, the theme song. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you. You're going to hear from them again, so don't worry. You'll get more of the Bard Band. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of these cards about being lifted. Someone wrote, I feel lifted by the way nonprofits in Montclair really lift each other up. Yes. Yes. And I feel lifted when I'm a part of Montclair community events. Yes! All right. I agree. All right, so next up, please join me in welcoming this producer and comedian, Rashid Daniel. He is the CEO and founder of Team Sheed Productions, an independent Black-owned company dedicated to advancing inclusion in the television industry. They're known for Dev's House, a music competition series. Rashid is also showrunner and EP for the Netflix series Wags to Riches. He worked on many more shows, including The Real Housewives of New Jersey, you might have heard of that one, and Blood, Sweat, and Heels, just to name a couple of them. He's also a stand-up comedian. Please give a warm welcome to Rashid Daniel!
She brought it back. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get married. The church jokes will continue all night, okay? Sarah, good to see you. Sarah, did Sarah make it? Hey, Sarah, Leah, my girlfriend's here. Also good to see you. Shout out to important people in the room. Mainly because Sarah saved my life. So I called Sarah one day when my gallbladder exploded. This is not scripted, actually. My gallbladder exploded being a television executive, and I was stressed and crazed and all that different stuff, and I said, should I move to Montclair? And she sent me Jennifer Ashkenazi's phone number. She didn't even respond. Go to West Hudson, get your new house. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? All right. So this whole thing has been going back and forth when Liz called me to write a piece about liftoff, right? She later emailed me and said, oh, the theme is lifted. I said, well, I wrote 5 pages on lift off, so we're gonna stay with that, all right? Liftoff, right? I thought rocket ship. I wasn't sure if she knew that I didn't go to the moon with Gayle King, but I'm attractive, I'm black, I could have been in the circle. It could have worked out for me, but I didn't. So I said, okay, well, I gotta, I'm a TV producer, I gotta grab everyone's attention pretty early. Will the Gayle King joke do it? Probably not. This guy is saying about his Tesla, so I gotta do better. Okay, maybe I'll try a dad joke, okay? My daughter's 6, she loves a dad joke. Montclair, why did the mushroom go to the party? Because he's a fun guy! Get him with the mushroom, with the fungus. I got him. Jesus, I got him. So now that I have him, Fun Guy and Liftoff are kind of connected to me, right? Obviously, I'm standing in front of you in a dashing blazer, so I'm kind of a fun guy. But this had to come from somewhere. The fun guy in my life who was a fun guy before I was a fun guy was a man named Rovin Daniel. My name is Rashid Daniel. That's right, that's my dad. He grew up in a small island in St. Kitts. You guys know St. Croix, you might know St. Kitts, it's British owned. In a city called Cairn. Not until his 60th birthday party would he reveal to me that part of the reason why he was so tough on me growing up, and part of the reason why getting an A was so important, was because when he was a young man, he worked on a salt plantation, making pennies per day. You see, as a black man, when you grow up to the age of 60, you kind of hide that from your kids, because you don't want them to know that when they tell the story of I walked with no shoes up the hill, that was true. So for me, he wanted the path to Liftoff to be right in front of me at all times, and it was. So for me, Rovin never let this kind of get him down, right? I always knew him as throwing parties, being a DJ, having turntables, playing Earth, Wind, and Fire, and all that fun sort of stuff. And if you drive back, at the age of 17, he kind of lied and said, I'm not 17, I can join the Royal Caribbean Army. And that way, I'm somehow gonna make it to America. Because if I join the military in the Caribbean, that can get me a British passport, and Americans do really well with British passports, I can get in. As a young boy, Rovin would hang out at the library, and his metaphorical liftoff was a guy named 007, okay? James Bond and his love for women and his love for secret places taught my dad all he needed to know about being in the world, right? You could go wherever you wanted to, right? So his course was set, and directly in front of him, Rovin set out not only to make it to America, but to have a son. Late night on guard, he'd tell his best friend Skip, oh man, I'm gonna get to America, and I'm gonna play catch with my son, and he's gonna be a fighter pilot. Then 1978 comes and I'm born. And I decide I don't really wanna be a baseball player, I wanna eat cookies, chocolate chip cookies. I would sell my soul for a Tesla and some chocolate chip cookies right now, so I'm buying. Did I want to be a fighter pilot? No, I wanted to be in drama. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to prep for Montclair Story Salon. This is what I'm doing, Dad. Duh. What did his dream of liftoff kind of instill in me? Well, that's easy, right? He's a first-generation immigrant. We talk about that a lot right now, so I think it's really important that we talk about it. My parents came here, they were not citizens. My dad came here, he became a citizen. I got born into citizenship. I'm that story, right? All this ICE stuff and all these people running around right now aren't talking about me. So what's my liftoff? My liftoff is a dad with the ever-present drive for liftoff. He would repeat phrases like, you know what, you should be gainfully employed. Or maybe we could get that if we had some more liquid income, okay? Long before I knew what any of these phrases meant, and now I'm 46 and I say ish like this to my kids. It's still a church, I can't say fuck the way the other guy did. So with all this pressure of being a first-generation American, my college degree from Rowan University, go Jersey, it was my turn. Since I'm not gonna be a pro baseball player or a fighter pilot, I better figure out a cool career and fast. Acting, Liz, didn't work out, but I'm gonna try something else. TV producer, they like me here. I think I can get a job. Wait, just because you know how to edit and you know how to film a camera, is someone gonna give me a job? Oh no, it doesn't work that way? You don't just apply on Backstage and it comes to you? No, it doesn't. So speaking in pilot terms, liftoff in a field like entertainment requires you to create your own momentum and create your own wings, and then to catch the right wind and the right current. If you catch the right wind, if you catch the right current, you very well could lift off. So I took a transcriber job at a small documentary company that had a roof deck overlooking the Empire State Building. These two important facts are really bad at typing. I really hate details, but the roof deck was my ticket. Because on that roof deck, I noticed that all the people in Versace and diesel jeans, y'all remember the era, were making cash, were smoking cigarettes. Lots of them. The year is 2000 and everybody smoked cigarettes, everybody was dealing weed, and it was incredible. Half-Baked had just come out, and it was amazing, right? So I decided I better start selling weed or packs of cigarettes. So I loaded myself up with a pack of cigarettes never even smoked in my life, and I faked my way into a producership. I knew that if I hung out and learned company gossip, I could pull this off. So with a cigarette in one hand, holding back a cough in another hand, I found out that the documentary business in New York was based off of low-income workers. Guess what I did? I never left. I just stayed. I said, my dad is gonna need me to be a fighter pilot if I leave here, so I might as well just stay, and sooner or later, someone's gonna give me a job, right? A 2-week job turned into a 3-year job. September 11th happened. Unfortunately, the towers came down. I was at a documentary company. We did a documentary on September 11th. At the age of 22, the New York Times sends over the review of our film. It says, filmmaker Rashid J. Daniel captured the most thrilling moment in this very enthralling film. Y'all know I was a filmmaker. And I literally climbed my way to the top. Even though I had some skills, I really like schmoozed my way right up to the top. So a strictly raised kid of immigrant parents who still don't know that I fully had my way to the top, really got to the place that I am because luckily in college I had prepared for the digital age. This was just the thing about timing. My liftoff was the fact that I used to call the producers who came before me book producers. They walked around with clipboards and books and they didn't know how to do anything technical. And I'd come in and teach them white balance and f-stop and how to load the Avid and how to digitize and how to make things happen. Look at all the producers nodding, heard you. Okay. As you realize, I had the gift of gab, and at first the long hours were a bit much, but soon I started doing everything, volunteering for everything, and got up to a big salary of $500 per week. Yes. Applause. I dated a girl that year who was an accountant at Ernst & Young. She was an ex-girlfriend from Old Bridge. Shout out Michelle, what's up, you here? No, my real girlfriend's here, she's over there. Say hi to Leah. Hi, Leah. This girl in 2000-something said to me, why would you do a job like this? You're not making any money. This is slave labor. And I boldly said, I will quadruple my salary in 1 year. And she said, that's impossible. No one can do that. It's disgusting. Now, you see, after I became a filmmaker, I was able to go to the British Broadcasting Company, and I directed a show called What Not to Wear, and I did triple my salary live. I started purchasing every single black suit at Banana Republic. I started wearing pocket squares. I was in, okay? And the main principle here is that my dad's thoughts were constantly in my head. What was I gonna do? Call him and tell him that I hadn't lifted off? This guy dealt with stuff that I hadn't dealt with before, so my liftoff was actually pretty important. But you know, my friends, that momentum, okay, was this liftoff? Maybe. A bunch of folks with accents moved in 2003, and the American dollar tanked. I'm not sure if you remember, but at one point, British people would come here and buy a Macintosh computer for half off. And shows like Wife Swap, shows like, what was the other one that was big? Weakest Link, were all British expat shows that came over here because they were served at a discount. Once again, I realized that I was discount material and I could get another job. So I kept moving and moving and moving and kept taking jobs and kept taking leaps, right? By the right time, my rise in television had all really happened because of the 50% off sale in America. Little did I know that liftoff wasn't going to be one giant leap. It was more like my dad's journey, forging papers, smoking cigarettes, and telling stories that were only slightly exaggerated, like tonight. 20 years later, I'm standing before you, still not a pilot, still disappointing my father, kind of, but he thinks I'm really funny. And if you look at my IMDb, I'm boasting a huge Netflix series called Wags to Riches. Watch it, we need some more ratings. And I run an independent company out of shout out to Montclair that has such a good scene for creatives like myself. Give it applause. So right now, with my dad's drive and a small little dream of lifting off as a fighter pilot from K-On, I am technically living my ancestors' wildest dreams. I am the liftoff that everyone thought about. I am what's being discussed on the news today, right? My dad wanted me to fly planes, but instead I flew through the ranks of reality TV. He wanted me to catch baseballs, but I caught opportunities instead. And you know what? My dad's still alive, so there's no reason for me to be crying. It's just a church, so it makes you cry. Somewhere between my dad's dreams and my actual life, I found my own version of liftoff. Turns out you don't need a cockpit to fly. Wow, I didn't know it would get emotional. Sometimes, all you need is a roof deck, some Parliament lights, and the audacity to call yourself a filmmaker before they call it to you. So here's to liftoff, for your own liftoff, wherever yours may be. Just remember, if a young man from Keon St. Kitts can make it to America, and his cookie-eating, play-watching, animation-loving son can make it to the Montclair Story Salon, then anything is possible. Thank you, guys.
I know those early days of 2000 to 2000 something where everyone was smoking up on roof decks. You had to be there and getting paid barely anything to pull together TV shows and transcribing a lot. I actually liked typing. That was fun. Meditative. But thank you. Really good story, and I hope you feel uplifted from that. Great job. All right, so we are now, good thing I numbered my pages. Got it. Okay. This next person I heard tell a story at an open mic night in town, and I was riveted by her writing and her storytelling. She has brought us a very personal piece tonight. Patience Moore is a 21-year resident of Montclair, where she raised 2 boys. She's a graduate of Yale and the NYU Silver School of Social Work. She's a licensed clinical social worker in private practice in Montclair. Please welcome Patience Moore.
Good evening. The tall girl, Mike. So this is an excerpt from a collection of essays that I wrote a while back when I was going through breast cancer. This one is called "Consider a Free Boob Job Without Seeming Shallow and Vain." It's hard to imagine being excited about anything after getting a breast cancer diagnosis. But I secretly feel a tiny thrill of anticipation at the thought of giving my non-cancerous breast a surgical lift after the mastectomy. Maybe it could be a bold step in my quest to wrestle something positive out of the big C. While reflecting on the scariness of cancer with people, I can arch my back slightly and feel good about my boobs. The only woman that lays the opposition on the line is my smart older sister Dina, who never has and never will shave her legs. "Wait a minute, Paige," she says over a summer lunch following my diagnosis. "You have to consider the history that is in the breast the way it is now. It has fed your 2 children. If you change it, you're erasing that history." History? I am so scared about my future, it doesn't even occur to me to consider my past, except to wonder what caused the cancer. I stare at her roadblock, puzzled. Breast history is important, and some of the history can be saved by leaving my good breast alone. The nursing point can't be argued. 2 sons, 4 years. But now I'm looking at losing my right breast altogether. Why not primp the other one? Who wouldn't want a matched set? Weeks later, as I step into the plastic surgery center, flanked by my husband Van, I entertain hope. The lighting is soft, and the couches all match. I think the walls are velour. In the examining room, a robe is left out for me that is not paper. It's golden and satiny, with a real tie around the waist. Having cancer and surgery is still just an idea. Dr. Rose opens the door. Lord, it's the Ray Liotta of plastic surgeons. Under thinning brown hair, his eyes are a translucent green, deep and mysterious like Hollywood's Mr. Liotta. His dark, pressed, probably Italian suit prolongs my experience of rich luxury. When he looks at my chart, a few flashes of gold sparkle at his wrists. But our time together quickly disintegrates. At his request, I open the robe. I sit in front of him, my breasts' history hanging out for him to evaluate. He looks at me, at them, like he's sizing up the proportion of a door jamb. He whips out a silver measuring device from his breast pocket that looks a little too much like a level. He reaches out, lifts my healthy breast, and lets it drop, dead weight. Dismay flicks behind my eyes. He does the same trick with the right breast, his eyes locked on my chest. The satin robe no longer protects me. It has dropped, slumped around my waist. He steps back, still staring at my chest like Picasso eyeing a canvas now. Are we going to do anything with the left breast? Are we going to consider augmentation? He has a disarmingly gentle bedside manner, and I'm tempted to like him and his fat gold Rolex, as long as he doesn't do that lift and drop thing with my breast again. But he said augmentation. Does Dr. Rose think my breasts are too small? I don't know, I say. Okay, well, you have time to think about that, he says, exiting. I throw the fickle spa robe down on the chair and get dressed, thankful to have my clothes to armor me. I take a deep breath to shake off the vulnerability. The same breast that fed my 2 boys will kill me if I don't get rid of it. That's a fact. And while I reluctantly ready myself to find a way to say goodbye to it, I'm supposed to have the emotional flexibility to contemplate the vainest of modern American female considerations, an evenly balanced and right-sized bust line. Moments later, in Dr. Rose's private office, Van and I sink into a squishy beige sofa. Dr. Rose sits up as straight as he can in his marshmallow couch facing us, a small laptop on his thighs. I follow his glance toward a sleek, flat-screen monitor. Suddenly, the screen divides into 4 squares, each with a photograph of headless, bare-chested women. This woman decided to augment during her cancer treatment. His voice is calm with a sprinkling of gold dust. This one here is an implant. We were able to bring the good breast up to match, which is more like what we would do with you. After you had completed your chemo and surgery, you will decide what to do with the healthy breast. We can't do what God does, but we will do our best. His eyes glow with translucence over his smile. I look down at the floor, trying to mentally slow down the pinball in my chest, to find myself. Van and friends can support me in this, but I am alone in the final decision, the body in question being mine. The monitor screen defaults back to a sunset over a deserted beach. A few weeks later, I'm in a hospital bed post-surgery. It feels like Andre Agassi served a tennis ball at my chest and I did not get out of the way in time. Back home, I'm afraid to look at my breasts for several weeks. When I am finally ready, I am alone, sitting on the end of my bed. I peel a bandage away from the wound, stare down at the 2 breasts, one round and fake, but miraculous in its new non-cancerous existence. The other, Old Faithful. They are, for sure, askew. By spring, when tulips are up and the sun is out, I go to follow up with Dr. Rose. Patience, have you decided about the left breast? We can't do what God does. He repeats his shtick from the first visit. We look in the mirror together as he pinches the skin below my nipple and pushes up the breast, momentarily erasing years of history. We cock our heads like dogs hearing a strange sound. I like the way the pair looks like this, actually, I think to myself. I'm encouraged, excited. Are there any side effects that I should know about? I remember to ask. Well, some people do lose feeling in the breast, he answers. Lose feeling. My heart twinges. I can't do more loss. A shadow of disappointment eclipses my hope. I already have a numb, fake breast because of the mastectomy. How can I voluntarily gamble the sensual capacity of the remaining breast for the sake of vanity? I've had 4 surgeries in 7 months, 6 months of chemotherapy. I've been cut and stuck and poisoned, and I am done. Even with the allure of matching breasts, paid for by my insurance, there are only so many times I can lay down to be cut. For what? To have no one know that I had breast cancer? To have my chest look strangely younger than the rest of me? As I am now, I am a walking memo of breast cancer, of a rough and tumble history. A fleeting vision of lifted and symmetrical breasts comes up one more time, hovering with hope, only to deflate like a party balloon that ends up in the corner, wilted and unwanted. The decision is made. Not so much for the history, as it turns out, but for my future. No, I say, just leave the left one the way it is. I understand, he says, shakes my hand. It's over. I am lifted by truth into a future marked, uneven, and scarred with history. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I really hope that if you haven't had a mammogram in the past year, ladies, please go get a mammogram. Seriously. It's so interesting about like what we accept as we age in our bodies and what's okay to leave. And you know, as we get older, I'm starting to grapple with that too. But I'm so glad you are with us. That is the most important thing. All right. All right, so the plan was to go back into music. Is that a good plan? We're gonna go back into some music. So please welcome back the really fun and amazing Bar Band.
This next song is called Walls. It's written by a Greek poet from the 20th century named C.P. Cavafy. And I'll let you make of it what you will, but I think the general message is that we can use less walls in our society, more bridge builders. And so go out and build some bridges. Deeply they have shut me off from the outside world. Building walls, but I not have noticed. Building walls, but I not have noticed. Wish I would have noticed. Thank you very much. We're going to leave you with one last song tonight. And I had to put it in there because I noticed on the flyer there was a hot air balloon. So this is a story that I wrote. It starts in a zoo and ends up in a hot air balloon. Won't you please
they stop. Giraffe stretches out his neck and he walks with a sense of calm. Who knows who knows who? He spreads out his fins and he walks with a sense of pride. I scream, says a big old man with a fun in your who knows who knows who? Zeros they gather and the elephant they stop. I scream, there's a big old egg that puts all the people very much, Montclair. Good work, Montclair, you guys. On keyboards tonight, Mr. Michael Schreiber, Montclair's very own. Over here, the man with the funky bass lines, Mr. Dave Menez, right next to him, Verona. And then behind me, the man with the jazz hands and those sweet vocal harmonies, Mr. David Kolk from Denver. And I'm Jamie Pagliaro, Montclair, and love to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to the bar band. Woo! That is some fun music. Get them on your playlist. I mean, come on, let's party, right? All right, we do have a couple more stories. Well, one main one that I really am excited about because you might all recognize her if you've been doing your civic duty. I would like to, she's a very special guest, and I'm just going to bring her up here. Please welcome Rachel Brooks.
All right, good evening, everyone. A little more energy, folks. So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, well, that's exactly what you're here for, to be honest with you. You all are a group of potential jurors. I don't know if you know that or not, but I came prepared with all your summonses tonight. So, just so you know, thank you for providing your names. Your summons will be in the mail come Monday. So what else you thought I was here for, to tell a story? Or to gather jurors? I mean, I don't know. But before I get started with my story, if I may take a few moments, just a few seconds, I have a strong relationship with all of you. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if Jamie is still here, but Jamie Bedrin from Montclair, New Jersey, wrote an article about me in New Jersey Monthly Magazine, April 2025 edition, all right? And then there's a secret Montclair Facebook page where people share these kind comments about their jury service. So it's like overwhelming, it's so special to me. And then Mr. Ray Gray had jury service and invited me to come speak tonight. And I was thinking to myself as he's talking to me, I'm like, he must be out of his mind. If he thinks I'm coming from jury service to come speak at some event, but I prayed on it, and God, I heard clearly, I had to be here tonight, if for nothing else, just to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all the kind and gracious people from Montclair, New Jersey. And I'm a proud graduate of Montclair State, New Jersey. So I had to be here tonight. So I appreciate everything. This means more to me than you know. So let me get on with my story. So all of you now know that I'm the jury manager in Essex County, right? What you don't know is how I became jury manager. So I'm about to tell you my journey right now. Now, I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I attended Catholic elementary, high school. I went on after high school to attend Fairleigh Dickinson University, only for a short period of time though. Both of my parents were laid off at the same time. So a year into college, I had to stop attending school. I had to get a job. I had nothing else to do, but I had to get a job. I applied for a job at the Superior Court of New Jersey in Newark over 30 years ago, right? And while I was employed, I got the position, let me just say that. I got the job at the lowest title at the court. It was court aide. I was so excited to have that job, so thankful to have that job, especially with all we were going through. I attended school at night, Essex County College. I took classes until I graduated from there. Then I went on to Montclair State University and graduated from there as well with my BS degree in business management. Now, when I signed on, they hired me for the Superior Court. I started working in the civil division in the arbitration unit. I love working in the arbitration unit. I love working with the attorneys, the judges, the staff, court users that would come in every day. But I've always been very ambitious. I've always enjoyed speaking to people, so I knew I wanted to go on to do something greater. I wasn't gonna leave the court, I just wanted to advance higher. Well, one day, my manager at the time called a meeting, and she said to us, she's leaving, she's been promoted, she's going on to future goals. The superiors over me asked me to fill in for a short period of time until the position was posted. I gladly accepted. I was so happy they asked me to fill in. Well, the position got posted. A few months later, I applied and was denied the job. It was crushing. It was crushing. But I did not let that deter me. It only fueled me to move higher. So I put my head down, I stayed focused, and I worked harder than ever. One day in passing in the hallway, an employee I knew stopped me in the hall and she said to me, hey, did you hear about that position in grand jury? Did you apply? I had no idea there was a position in grand jury because I had only been applying and wanted to advance in the civil division. So I quickly jumped on the elevator. I went up to HR. This was back in the day before online postings. I snatched the posting off the wall, I read it over, and I applied. A few weeks later, they called me and said I got the job as the grand jury clerk. I had moved up 2 levels from where I started. I was super excited now to have that job. I worked hard in grand jury. I had to explain the rules and regulations of what the grand jury was responsible for doing. I had to be the liaison between the assistant prosecutors and the grand jurors and all the witnesses. It was a super exciting job. But again, I've always been very ambitious. Well, to my surprise, the supervisor in the department at that time, a few years later, she called a meeting and she said she was leaving. Now, this was surprising to me because my supervisor was around my same age and I had no idea that she was leaving anytime soon. So I thought to myself, I'm gonna put in and I'm gonna apply. But before I did, let me just tell you this. I've been saying I've always been extremely ambitious. So during that time over the years, I had applied for other postings outside the division because I didn't think my supervisor or manager were going anywhere soon. So I thought. Well, I did something different this time that I've been doing previously with my other positions I posted for. This time I prayed and completely surrendered to God's will. I completely surrendered. I said, God, is this your will for me? Let it be done. I was completely satisfied and content with what I already had. God had provided me with everything that I needed and more than what I wanted. So it was up to him whether or not he moved me on higher and further. Well, when she told me this again, it was such a surprise to me. I didn't even know if I should apply or not. So I went ahead and applied. I applied for grand jury supervisor and I got the job. I got the job. So I was supervisor there for a few years. God was lifting me all along and I wasn't even aware he was doing it. I was thinking I had to leave, but in fact, that God was making a space for everyone else to leave. He was blessing them while he was at the same time blessing me. So a few years later into my grand jury supervisor position, another surprise happened. The manager of the department that was in charge of grand jury and petite jury called a meeting and announced she was retiring and relocating. So I said, could this be true? Should I even apply? God, is this your will for me? Well, I applied. I went through 2 rounds of interviews, one with 4 managers somewhere, and the last being with the new assignment judge and new trial court administrator. I applied and I got the job as jury manager. I got the job, right? God had lifted me higher than I could ever imagine. Remember, over 30 years ago, I started out at the lowest position at the court, and I had to work my way up while attending school, while doing what I had to do. So, trust in God's timing. I was applying for positions with my timing in mind. Never give up on your hopes and your dreams. You never know how far you may go. I never even thought I would be here tonight. Never thought I would be here tonight, but here I am. I thank you, Mr. Gray, for inviting me here. Because again, I was a little fearful about being here tonight. I really was. I'm used to talking to thousands of people, but in my comfort zone, not here. All right? So just know, this is a lot for me. So I appreciate it. So I was gonna say, before I end and close, I went through some bumps in the road. There was some turbulence along the way. Get my lifted journey here, right? But God lifted me up and I'm soaring, right? And you're soaring because it's in my heart here that I feel I'm soaring, all right? So I just want to say, I encourage you all to lift someone else up. Every time someone comes in for jury service, it's my mission, my service, my purpose to lift their spirits along the way. I don't do it just for a job. I do it to give back. So I encourage all of you tonight to give back in some type of way. Help someone else along the way. You never know how it may impact someone else. And let me tell you, a positive action on your part will have a positive action in your life as well. I'll leave you with one thing now that I'm so lifted here tonight. It's a quote by Maya Angelou, and it states, and I may be missing some parts, but you'll get the gist of it. One of my favorite quotes is, people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So everyone, I encourage you to stay lifted, stay prayerful, stay positive, remember your purpose. May God bless you all, and I'll see you on Monday for jury service.
Yes, Rachel Brooks! Now, who doesn't want to go to jury duty? Come on! Yes, you do! Because Rachel's going to be there, and she's going to lift you up. Thank you, Rachel. That was really fun. Thank you so much. All right, we're almost there, you guys. Thank you for sticking with these really incredible stories and all this talent. And if you'll just indulge me for a moment, we're gonna get to the auction. First of all, okay, look, look at this amazing painting, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, take that in. He created that all in just like an hour and a bit. But before we get to the auction, very short story. I want to share this with you. Last week, I got a surprise in the mail that I didn't expect. It wasn't something I asked for or ordered online. It was not something I thought I would get this soon. It was an AARP card, an ARP card, because in just a few days, I'll be turning 50. Half a century, a golden jubilee. It sounds both regal and surreal. Recently, I asked a friend on the brink of 49, what's going on your bucket list for the next year that you turn 50? I was curious, half for him, half for me, because let's be honest, it's kind of a delicious question. And then I asked myself quietly, have you been checking off your own list, Liz? What's even on it? What's essential for this milestone, the kind of aspirations that don't just mark time, but lift me into the next act with joy, curiosity, and delight? Of course, there are trips, many planned. Some of them involve shepherding children to colleges of the Midwest, Indiana and Wisconsin to be precise. Not exactly a lifelong dream to be flying to these states, but certainly a goal fulfilled, raising children who are excited to chart their own course. That counts, doesn't it? So yes, 50 comes with a double whammy, a milestone birthday, and the looming horizon of an empty nest. Apparently, I'll have time for some of these bucket list items. Some of them are big, epic even. I want to fly north, far north, to see a glacier before it disappears. Greenland, perhaps? A rendezvous with impermanence. And books? Always books. I want to stand inside the largest bookstore I can find, the grandest library I can wander through, cathedral-like, infinite. Trinity in Dublin was sublime, yes, but I want more. I want to sit undisturbed for an hour or two in a dream made of pages. Then there's the pink lunch. What is it, you ask? It's exactly what it sounds like. A gathering in bloom. Friends in blush tones, pink peonies, rose-colored beverages, and the kind of laughter that turns cheeks the color of pink hydrangeas. I want to learn to speak Hebrew, not just teach it. I want to understand the words I'm teaching to kids to read in their introductory third grade class. I want to learn the piano, not to perform at Carnegie Hall or at a Montclair Salon, but to find my way to a melody without fear. Maybe a Broadway show tune or two. If anyone's offering lessons, I'm all ears. Other dreams? Lunch with the Duplass brothers, a guest star role on TV, to voice a children's audiobook, to MC a major event that I didn't personally organize, for once. A private docent-led tour at the MoMA, an archaeological dig, trowel in hand, discovering what once was. These are the things I believe will carry me into the next half century, not just older, but lighter, more luminous, more grateful. And even if I only cross off a few, it's good to have a list. It's a touchstone, a compass, something to glance at when the world feels a bit too beige. That Notes app on my phone, it gets a lot of love. So yes, I'm okay with turning 50. It's just a number, right? And if TikTok says I look 43, who am I to argue? Tonight, I'm calling this my gateway celebration. And I'm so deeply happy that you're here, not for me, but because we're here together in community, in service of a cause that lifts up others. And as we move forward, my hope, my goal is that we keep our collective vibrations high, that we keep seeking the light, chasing the joy, and finding the music and the art in the everyday. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Okay. All right, here we are. I feel like I'm missing a page, totally. But this is where we're gonna basically get into the auction. Yes, okay. All right, so you've been watching the amazing Fernando Mariscal paint this painting. I mean, what? This is incredible. Like, he did this in like An hour. I mean, I don't know, I can't even draw a stick figure, but this is amazing. So we're gonna auction this off, and this is gonna go to Montclair Helps. So what we raise for this on this painting, you're gonna be helping people in emergency situations. So I'm gonna start the bidding at $100. Do I see $100 for this incredible, amazing, amazing painting? Do I see 100? 100 over here. Do I see 125? Do I see 125 for this amazing painting? 125 over here. Do I see 150? Do I see 150 for this gorgeous painting that gives back? 150 back there. Do I see, I'm gonna jump to 200. Do I see $200 for this gorgeous, vibrant painting by an award-winning artist? 200 over there. And I'm gonna go up to 250. Do I see $250 for this gorgeous painting of a gorgeous place in our town? $250 for this amazing painting. 250? No? I'm going up 250 over here. I see 250, 250. All right, should we go to 275, 275, 275 for this amazing painting, this great painting by Fernando Mariscal? Nope, okay, 250. Who was my 250? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Okay. The Jews are taking the painting of the church. Going once, twice, 3 times. Oh, wait, what? 300. Ah, we have 300. We have 300 right up front. Ooh, you were waiting for that one. $300 for this incredible, gorgeous, huge painting, vibrant with colors. $300 going once. What do I see? 325? 325 over here. 325 over here for this amazing painting. Do I see 350? Do I see 350 for this painting? 350, all right. 325, going once. Wait, if you're gonna raise your hand, it's gotta be high, because I may not see you. 325, going once, twice, what? 350 over here, 350 over here. Wow, you're okay. 350. This is fun. This is fun. 350 for a Fernando Mariscal painting. This guy is Montclair. He paints Montclair. You can see his other paintings out there. He is Montclair. And this beautiful space that he's painted, 350. Going once. This is for Montclair Helps. You're going to be helping families and people. Going once, twice. Oh! Over here, 375, 375, 375 over here, going once, twice. We're gonna go up to 400 for the next one. It'll be 400. Or we're gonna stay at 375 over here. So it goes once, 375, once, two, 400, we got 400 right here. 400 over here for this amazing Fernando Mariscal painting. $400 for Montclair Helps. What a beautiful thing. Going once, the next jump is gonna be to 450. Going once, twice, 3 times, sold to $400. Thank you so much. What's your name? To David. All right. Thank you so much. We'll make this happen. Thank you so much. You're going to be helping so many people with that, and we're going to connect you with our artists, so you'll take this painting, and we'll also connect you with Montclair Helps so you can make that donation. Thank you so much. And that's it. So hold on. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I gotta look at my notes. Thank you to the Montclair Helps for allowing us to gather in their honor. Thank you to Albert and Kim from Union Congregation for inviting us to use this beautiful space. Thank you to our sponsors, Vault Fitness and which orthodontics? Peluso Orthodontics, and Marcel for the amazing food. Yes, Marcel. That Israeli breakfast. I think of that every day. Thank you so much, Marcel. And of course, thank you to my storytellers and my singers and my artists for being here tonight. And yes, we're going to do the silent auction, don't worry. We want to make sure that Montclair Helps can lift up those in the community with emergency cases. So the silent auction is still going on. We're going to give it about 10, 15 minutes. So when you leave, you can have the last bites. There's some cookies. And go to the silent auction and really bid, because you're going to help Montclair Helps and all these people that in emergency situations, and also you're going to take home a Fernando Mariscal painting. That's pretty awesome. And thank you to the Pride Choir for performing, giving us that amazing pop-up performance. So incredible. And I have to, do a plug for Montclair Story Salon. For those that don't know and it's your first time here, please go to MontclairStorySalon.com, sign up for the mailing list. I do like one a month, just so you know what's happening. And you can follow me on Instagram, Montclair Story Salon. And it really fills me up and lifts me up that you're all here. And thank you so much. I hope you all feel lifted and enjoy your community. It's a great place. We love Montclair. Thank you. Have a great night.